I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Testing. Yep, now it's fine. Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone. Welcome to the second Euros 2024 pod of the FPL Wire, where we discuss groups D, E, and F. I'm your host so far, and I'm joined by my co-hosts Late Riser and Pras. How's the tinkering going, guys?
Look at that
First of all,
background, man. Look at that background. I mean, you look like a guy from like Inception with this thing of wire coming out. I mean, it's really good.
Cheers, man. Just
it's
moved in.
really,
Still
really good.
been a very hectic week. Only really started getting settled today, but still running back and forth. But glad to be podding. Glad to be talking football again.
Apologies to our listeners, firstly, for making them wait. We generally are not the kind of pod that are late. This is probably the first time in a long time that we've gone late beyond 5 minutes. Apologies for that. It's just that got insane traffic today. Is also moving into a new house, so there's been a little bit of a adjustment period about that. So apologize to you guys. But yeah, man. I've really, really enjoyed the last 10 days. Like, it really feels like old school FPL, man. Like, the amount of knowledge I've gained in the last 10 days about European football that I didn't know is insane. And I think that's purpose served in terms of just getting to know so much more about football because we're here for the football. I think that's when it comes to all three of us, that's how we got into the game as well. So now I can't wait for tomorrow. I'm far from having decided my team, but I can't wait now.
I'm impressed, man. I mean, in our WhatsApp group, that broader WhatsApp group, you threw up some names like this guy's really good. I'm like, who? So, I mean, your research has been pretty good. So hopefully that pays off. But it feels good, right? To do it the old school way of like not knowing everything and trying to dig everything, watching highlights. So it's good.
Yeah, the content isn't as widespread as it is in FPL, right? So you still have to figure a lot of things out for yourself. There's not as much spoon feeding, and I think it's quite refreshing.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, yesterday I thought I just watched like highlights for like half an hour. Then I was like, what were Hungary up to? And then I watched like 3 or 4 games of theirs. Then I'm like, is McTominay a real thing? Then I watched 2, 3 games of theirs. Like it was like sort of like an Instagram reel black hole where we kept going on and on. But yeah, man, can't wait to get into groups D, E, and F, discuss our current chip strategies, and we'll vibe with if there's any other more new relevant information from Group ABC as well.
Let's get started with our sponsor plug.
Yep,
sounds good, man.
As you guys know, FPL Wire has partnered with NordVPN. If you're bored of the streaming libraries in your country, with NordVPN, you can access content outside your region, get access to a wider library on your favorite streaming services, and say if you're traveling outside your country, you can access your home library content. Weekly show recommendation, boys. What have you been watching?
At the moment, just about finishing the bear that I was watching. Haven't started anything new at the moment. Pras, how about you?
I finished season episode 8 of that show that I talked about last week. I think the
Dark
seventh one
Matter.
was last night. Dark Matter was really good. So the last one, the finale, is going to be next Wednesday. So if you need to catch up, do that. And also the boys has started the season 3. I think it's season 3 or 4. So 3 episodes have dropped today. So I know that's also very popular.
Yeah, I've been rewatching House of the Dragon. That's going to premiere this weekend, right? So just getting caught up against a year seems like a long time ago. I didn't remember much. It was fun rewatching that.
Lovely. Lovely.
So NordVPN also has an efficient anti-malware and anti-spyware tool. It highlights any attack and deletes it before it makes a mess of your computer. Grab your exclusive NordVPN deal by going to nordvpn.com/the FPL Wire. It's completely risk-free using Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Sign up using the link in the description below. Right, let's get started, guys. I love that we have this image for the Euros as well. Credit to Rob T for it. It feels a little bit like home. Sort of like
Comfort blanket.
See, a comfort blanket is a better word to put it.
Yeah, it shows good teams have, there are teams to target in match day 1. And this is relevant for those who are looking to play a free hit or as in play a chip in match day 2. So match day 1 becomes a free hit or not still. I mean, a lot of good teams have good odds to do well and clean sheets. So what do you think, LR?
Do you want to go into DEF first, or let's I think do macro chip strategy? That's generally how we go about things.
I think we can just update. Where are you now? Because now there is no more debating. We have to sort of make a decision. We're 24 hours from the deadline.
I'm at Wildcard match day 2, Limitless match day 3. 3 primary reasons. A is information. Like, I think there will be like a premium midfielder that emerges or a premium striker that none of us have been considering. That could be an option. I want to act on that. There could be a couple of budget gems that are 4 million wing backs in a 3-5-2 setup that we might not be aware of at the moment. So I want to act on information immediately. And I think the best point to act on that information is match day 2, because almost everybody, whether you're saving a chip in 2 or not, is going to be on limitless match day 3. So differentiating, acting on information is possible in match day 2. So I'm looking at that and having fun. And about insurance in the quarterfinal stages, I'm just going to back myself in terms of judging the teams after seeing 3 rounds of football and be able to call out the winners once the round of 16 happens. And if it goes to shit, FPL will be closed by that time.
Fixtures are announced next week, no? Premier League
exactly.
fixture. So we can do the ticker and helicopter view even next week. I mean, I'm kidding. We won't do that.
We could. Normally, traditionally, we always do a pod the moment the fixtures come in. So you never know.
We never know.
Yeah.
And look, I'm on the same one. So as I had mentioned in the last pod, so I want to remove the notion of insurance though. This is not a safer chip strategy. It's just my free hit is, instead of your match day 2, my free hit is round of 16. Because the game gives you unlimited transfers, because I have a wildcard in quarterfinal, I will be using match day 16 as my free hit. So therefore, I won't have to commit on 4 France, teams that I expect to go further in the tournament. I can spread it out. I can actually target matchups in round of 16 where I will have full information. So that is one of the thinking. Insurance is a bonus. And lastly, I think match day 1 and match day 2 have some good teams. Very, very good teams have 2 good fixtures. So you can see here in front of you, Germany have a great fixture in match day 1. They have a good fixture in match day 2. England have a good fixture match day 1, decent fixture match day 2. Belgium is another one. Okay fixture match day 1, get good fixture match day 2. So where I'm thinking is, yes, what am I losing? I'm losing maybe not having a Dutch player because they play Poland and then they play, who do they play? Netherlands play Italy. No, Netherlands play Spain.
In Netherlands in match day 2 play France.
So, match day 1, I can't attack Netherlands because I don't want them in match day 2. So that I'm giving up a little bit. And then Spain, I think I'm giving up a little bit as well because they play Croatia. And then maybe next match day, you want to have a Spanish player, but they play Italy. So I feel like this week, otherwise, I'm covered with Germany, Belgium, Portugal, England, and a couple of Italians. And I think that gets me through plus Mbappe.
I just want to state that, having thought about what you're doing, etc., it makes perfect sense. I think it's a really good approach. This isn't a case of one chip strategy being better than the other. I genuinely think if you're trying to play the long game, your chip strategy actually might be better, in my honest opinion. It's just I want to have fun. And I might be actually differentiating for the sake of differentiating with a couple of picks from Denmark or the weaker teams just because I want to punt. But, the teams that you're covering are genuinely the strongest teams. The only thing is, the bit of advice that I'll give you is you don't know what you don't know, right?
Yes.
So when you move into match day 2, have like a 20% open mind. If things are very different and the team that you want for match day 2 is different from what you have currently, be an open mind to play the chip then. That's all.
For sure. And I think that's where Zoff is, right?
So that's exactly where I am. And I want to discuss the fixtures that we are looking to target in match day 2. Essentially, they're Croatia versus Albania, Scotland versus Switzerland, which I think is a little bit more difficult to call than we think. That match could go either way. Slovenia versus Serbia, Slovakia versus Ukraine, Poland versus Austria. Also, I don't think is as one-sided for Poland or Austria. I think that could go either way. Georgia versus Czechia, and Belgium versus Romania. Belgium, we're already going to be well represented. And the other ones, like essentially you'd be getting players from, let's say, Croatia, Scotland, maybe Switzerland, Serbia, Ukraine, Poland, Czechia, and Belgium. So do we have reliable options from these teams who can go big?
Once we see round 1, yes. Right now, you're assuming because you're a little shooting in the air and you haven't seen the football. There might be a Serbian player, Mitrovic, for example, who scores a hat-trick against England in match day 1. And you're like, okay, this guy becomes essential in match day 2. Like right now, you think that they seem loosey, sort of non-reliable fixtures, but your opinion might change once you see the football in match day 1. Like that's the whole thing.
Correct.
Also, just to add on LR's chip strategy of basically a new team every week, you can also attack match day 1. So like I mentioned, you probably have to have triple Belgium against Slovenia and give up maybe a good Dutch defender, or you can't have a Spanish attacker because they have a difficult MD2 fixture. So actually a gain of playing a chip in MD2 will also be you're able to attack MD1 more as opposed to if you were not playing a chip.
But all the teams that you're looking at and I'm looking at, I think they're of equal strength. I don't think there are weaker fixtures for your chip strategy in match day one, very honestly. I, in fact, think that the punts that I'm taking are from slightly weaker teams
Yes.
in my chip strategy. So I just wanted to state that. One thing I do want to state is that if you're somebody who's looking to save the limitless chip for the knockout stages, don't.
Yeah.
The limitless chip is best played in match day 3 because there's some great fixtures in match day 3 and you might want a lot of really expensive players in match day 3. Most of the teams will have something to play for. And even if not, you will be able to target the teams that have something to play for. The limitless chip is useless in the group stages. So make sure you use it in the knockout stages. So make sure you use it in the group stages.
I think match day
Because
3 is
let's
what
say-
we've all penciled in that for, right? As of now.
Exactly. Yeah. I just want to state that let's say you have like unlimited transfers before the round of 16. If you're planning to play your limitless in before the quarters, then you come back to your round of 16 team in the semis. Not just that you lose out on the 3 and 4 free transfers moving to your match day 6 team. So, make sure you're using limitless in the group stages.
Unless
This
you're
one-
wildcarding in the semi-finals, which of course I don't know if it makes sense. So I think limitless you only use in quarterfinal if you're wildcarding in semi-finals. But yeah, you can't have it loose as a hanging limitless in the knockouts.
Somebody I've been interacting with on Twitter, iTaxi, he's a Denmark fan. He's actually on that chip strategy.
Yeah, which I get. It's like the opposite, right? You're basically saying, I'm going to pick all good players now, what I know. Obviously, the biggest risk is you don't know. Like in match day 2, something else happens. Or we discover new things in match day 1. But there's no bad strategy.
Right. Cool. Yeah. Let's get into Group D. Should we start with one of the favorites for the tournament, France? I think that's the good place to start.
Second favorites of the tournament, yeah.
Behind Portugal?
No, behind England.
We know, bro.
Just wanted to... we know. Right, man. Is Mbappe a lock-in? Question 1, I'll come to you. If you're somebody who wants to go for a enabling third striker and you have to, or you want to go for Ronaldo, obviously Mbappe and Lukaku play on the same day. Do you swerve Mbappe or do you swerve Lukaku?
Lukaku's value is really good for 9 million. I think he was a top scorer in qualifying. It's really hard to avoid. But it's interesting because Mbappe's fixtures also in terms of captaincy, I think you're going to captain Lukaku on both of those days, right? Over Mbappe. Maybe in the third week you might go for him.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
It's difficult. Like at the top of my head, Mbappe is just the better player. France is just the better team. But Austria are pretty good. They're not that bad as a team.
Not as bad as Slovakia.
But Slovakian defense isn't terrible either. They're sort of like a middling defense. They're not a terrible defense. But how do you judge the Belgian attack? They tend to play a slightly more attacking way of football from what I know. And there is a 2 million price difference between Mbappe and Lukaku as well. At the moment, I'm swerving Lukaku. But I have nightmares every night thinking about swerving Lukaku. And I wonder if I want to swerve Mbappe, but how do you swerve the best player in the tournament? Like, that's the thing. What are your thoughts, Pras?
I just see Mbappe as like a hygiene
Salah.
pick. A hygiene, like a
EO
Salah.
Pick, can we say that?
Yeah.
I mean, EO, he's 77% owned.
Exactly.
So yeah, if you want to go EO as well, you're basically taking on the whole game if you're getting rid of him. If Mbappe was like 12 million, if he was more than Kane, or there was like a real difference between the guys, you can still think about it. He's the same price as Kane. Like I see the debate more as Kane versus Ronaldo than Mbappe versus Ronaldo per se. But I can see why you're doing it because of the captaincy, which is smart. And especially if it's only for a week, maybe it's not the end of the world if you did that. So I can see it, but this is LR world. I don't know how to, you have to have Mbappe. He's 80% owned. He's a good player. He's the best player in the tournament. You have to have him.
At the moment, I have Mbappe and I'm serving Lukaku. That's what I'm doing at the moment. Right. He was top for not just goals. He was top for assists in that French team as well. And I kind of feel that him being captain gives him a little extra spur to do a lot more in that team as well. So, I think that's a shoe and let's not talk. Are there any other options from that team in attack?
They've ruined the France guys. They've all made them forwards. Dembele is a forward. Griezmann's a forward. Giroud is a forward. Giroud and Thuram are fine. So no, because Camavinga and Kante are the mids that will probably play, and they're not worth it.
Exactly. So I feel like, Austria is a pretty good defense actually. They've been doing fairly well off late. So if you want to swerve that second France attacker, see who stands out, etc. Griezmann is their main creative pick, but at the moment there are better forwards in that squad forward setup, right? And other cheaper forwards who are offering more value as well. So I think to swerve the second French attacker at the moment.
What
Yeah.
about Hernandez? I've not seen him enough. Like most teams I've seen are without him. He's an absolute monster from the stats I checked. Very good for Milan. Why is he not in more
Yeah.
teams?
Austria. That's why he's not in more teams. Like it isn't probably as nailed on a clean as some of the other teams that have slightly more attacking options. Like Portugal clean is slightly more nailed on. Cancelo is slightly more attacking than a Hernandez is. A lot of people are going for Italy, cheaper defenders who are as attacking in a wing back system, whereas France plays with the four at the back. That said, Theo Hernandez is really good. I saw the highlights. He's very, very attacking on that left side. Really, really good pick. At the moment, I just downgraded him yesterday to have a slightly more rounded attack. But nothing wrong with the pick, man. The only reason people are telling themselves is Austria are pretty decent. That's about it.
Plus the game week 2 match day 2 fixture. So I again, for people like me, I'm not considering him because they play Netherlands. But match day 1, yeah, can. But this defensive premium defense is a very crowded space. There are some very nice upside picks, and you can't have more than one or two, right? So I guess people have just made their bed with a Dutch guy or a Portuguese dude or DeMarco.
Yeah. If people are in the market though for a 5 million French defender as well, Koundé is not bad at 5 million.
Yeah.
He's the wing back on the other side, tends to do fairly attacking as well. So you're looking to shave off 0.5 million in your team and want some French coverage as well. Koundé is a decent shout. It looks like Konate and Upamenko are going to be the two starting centre backs. Saliba might not be the starting centre back, but the fact that we are questioning this entire equation makes me think that if you go France defender, go Koundé or Theo and leave it. Don't indulge in the CBs until we see what we're seeing. What do you reckon?
I'd agree.
All fair.
Cool. Anything to say about Austria?
Sabitzer and
Not really.
Baumgartner at 6.5 are decent, but I think there are obviously better options there.
Yeah, they're good picks, but you wait and watch because they play France in the first team, so you're not going to pick them at the moment. So they seem like a team that we're going to have a discussion about in match day 2, if at all, because their prime fixture is against Poland in match day 2. So we see what we see against France and then discuss.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Netherlands?
Netherlands is the big one. I saw like 3 or 4 of their friendlies. So Memphis is the punt that I'm taking at the moment instead of Lukaku. Like I wanted to think that if I was going for a value option as my third striker, there needed to be a real meat behind that decision making. That forward needs to offer enough upside. So I was thinking about Dobvik, who plays for Ukraine. I was thinking about Depay. I was thinking about Højbjerg. I was thinking about Waga, who's actually 6 million, and even
You mean
Salah.
Højlund?
Højlund, yeah. Højlund, who's 7 million from Denmark. But Depay looks so sharp in the last 2 friendlies. And he tends to do really well. He's almost like a beast. He was one of the top scorers in the last Euros, by the way. Has 44 goals for Netherlands. Actually might be on pens because when Koeman made the comment about Van Dijk, Depay was injured. He wasn't in and around the scheme. So he's the one, he's missed 2 of his penalties is what I know. But in the 2 friendlies that I saw, he was talismanic. Everything went through him. He was involved in every goal scoring action, whether that was assist or attack. And I think that 7.5 million, not many people are going to look at him. I think if I'm swapping Lukaku, he's the coverage pick because I think Netherlands against Poland have lost all 3 of their starting strikers at the moment. Lewandowski is not going to be playing the first game against Netherlands. The other guy, I forget his name, starts with S. No Milik either, he's injured as well. And then there's Swiderski or something of that sort. I forget his name. He's not going to be playing the first game as well. So that's the thing. Netherlands have a good chance. Good team. The 3 center backs are De Ligt, Van Dijk, and Ake. And all of us that watch the Premier League, we know that these guys are quality players, which is why Verbruggen at 4.5 million almost becomes a no-brainer if you ask me, especially because the strikers from the Polish team are injured. And there's the Frimpong versus Dumfries debate. Today there was a tweet. There were rumors that Frimpong is probably going to play on right wing, but and Dumfries is going to be playing as the wing back. But
This is a Clockwork Orange, by the way, for anyone that wants to check it out, at Clockwork Orange, ORANJE.
Yeah.
And he is basically, or he or she has made a predicted lineup based on the bibs. So you be warned, bib theory is not a proven theory in the world of science. But based on that, he's got Frimpong starting instead of Simons, Gakpo and Memphis as the top three.
Yeah.
And no Dumfries in defense.
Yeah. No Dumfries. Yeah. That's interesting. So it sort of gives you a little bit of a doubt in terms of what's going to happen in that Netherlands defense. I think you go centre backs. I would be surprised if Dumfries doesn't start. But again, something you can take advantage of in match day 2.
But why
if
are
at
people
all.
not looking at just Van Dijk, man? The guy scores in the last 2 friendlies. He's apparently on penalties. What's wrong? I mean, he's just not a sexy option, but he's good.
He's a great option. Ball recovery magnet. And I think something we haven't spoken about enough. Oh yeah, that's also the thing with Mbappe. Man of the match potential. Very, very high when you think about Kylian Mbappe. We forget about those 3 points that you're going to get with the man of the match.
That's big.
Yeah, Van Dijk might easily be man of the match. Like the top 2 contenders to be man of the match in that team are Van Dijk and Memphis, in my opinion. So yeah, and he's good on ball recoveries too. Good option.
I mean, just one thing to say on Netherlands, there's a little bit of worry that they've lost their whole midfield, right? Their entire central midfield has injured. They lost Frankie de Jong, they lost this Koopmeiners and another guy. So it's a little bit of a worry, but their defenders are so good, man. I mean, I wish they could lend 1 or 2 to England. Like they've got all elite centre backs playing for them. So it's a good defense. I think Verbruggen is great. So I don't think I have anything else in terms of attack or anything else to add. Frimpong comes with risk.
Yeah, Frimpong comes with a risk. In fact, Xavi Simons was a good 7 million midfielder. Apparently, Koeman really, really likes him. And at that 7 million price, if you fancy a bit of Dutch action, like he was good. But now, Clockwork Orange is put doubt in our head in terms of Simons versus Frimpong in that position.
Yep.
I feel like if we have more clearer ITK news by the time tomorrow's deadline approaches, that Frimpong is actually going to start, a lot of us might be tempted to move that spot.
Want to Poland?
Is off anything to add on Netherlands?
Not much. Netherlands, I don't have any players from them currently in my team. I've been looking at Gakpo, but again, there's no forwards real estate available. So the team I'm worried about not owning. But again, like you, I want to keep the possibility of the match day to no chip open. So that's why I've not gone for them currently.
I've seen the 2 highlights, right? I say that if you're going for a Dutch forward, definitely pick Memphis over Gakpo. He was just a lot more talismanic, in my opinion. Everything went through Memphis, if you want to go there.
Right. Poland, I think with all the forwards injured, very limited options except Zielinski. But again, there also is assists. I think they're better picks elsewhere.
Poland are an avoid.
They're an avoid.
Just an avoid, especially with so many people injured at the moment here.
And
they don't look.
We'll have a look at them next round if Lewandowski is fit for the Australia game. Group predictions?
Just in terms of clean sheet odds, Netherlands are second after Italy for clean sheet potential as per 11FI. So I just wanted to mention that as well. So the numbers look really good in terms of clean sheet odds. Even on this, actually Germany's got really. Yeah, this is on this list. So yeah, right up there in terms of clean sheet potential if you're looking. Zoff, you don't have Verbruggen in your team?
No, right now I have Pickford and Lunin. Is that his name?
I think you should consider Verbruggen at 4.5 million. I fancy him. I think the clean sheet against Polish, especially with Leva, the strike force injured for Poland. I think it's a lot of value in that goalkeeping spot.
Yeah, I've struggled to get my FPL hat off. Every time I look at Verbruggen, in my mind it just says rotation risk.
Steel is right there.
Yeah. Cool. So Poland we're not going to touch until they show something of note. That's what it is, right? I mean, let's talk about the more relevant stuff, because I think after we finish ENF also, we'll just quickly see if there's anything else to note from ABC in terms of friendlies, etc. as well.
Right.
So prediction, I guess France number 1, Netherlands number 2.
3 and 4 is what up for debate, right? Poland and
correct.
Austria.
3 Austria, 4 Poland is what I'm going to go for.
As things stand now. Yeah, Poland.
I think so, with the injuries at Poland, that's probably what I'd go for that as well.
Cool. Group E. Pras, you must have looked into them a lot because of your chip strategy. Why don't you talk us through Belgium?
So Belgium, look, I think it's a good team, but they always tend to disappoint in tournaments. They're one of those teams with their golden generations and all, but that is now coming to an end somewhat. But I think the thing with them is Lukaku is the standout. Then you have Doku who will play on the left, the whole Man City role. Unfortunately, he's a forward. Otherwise, 7 million would be a great price for Doku. And
It's
by the way,
terrible that he's a forward.
exactly. So then you have basically De Bruyne, who is 9.5, again overpriced. He should have been the same price as Bruno Fernandes and basically give people a choice, but he's 0.5 more expensive, but still a good pick. And then on the right
Man of
hand
the
side,
match potential.
yeah,
Like
for
with De
sure,
Bruyne, you can't rule that
for
out.
sure. And then on the right, you have Trossard as the attacker. And probably in midfield, they'll have Angala and something like that. So I think that's where the attack lies. So the options here are probably De Bruyne and Lukaku if money is not an object. And if you wanted to downgrade and want a second attacker, then maybe Trossard instead of De Bruyne. So that's where sort of the options lie. Defense is an interesting one. So, they've got a good defensive record. I think the clean sheet odds are also okay. And if you look at it over the two games, so if people are on my strategy, over the two games, they're in the top three in terms of clean sheet odds. So there are a few options. So Wout Faes, the Leicester guy, he looks to be nailed. I mean, he looks to have played most of the friendlies. He's trusted. So as the right centre back, he's only 4 million. So a good option. If you wanted the flare option is Castagna on the right, which is who's 5 million. And there's actually a really nice budget option on the left, which is De Kuyper, who is only 4.5 million. And in fact, if you have 0.5 million spare and you have Feist in your team, just upgrade him to that guy because he has a lot more attacking threat. And then you have Castiles as the goalkeeper. So again, in defense, I would say Feist will be popular because of price, 4 million. But De Cooper has a lot of upside. Castagna has a lot of upside. And Castiles is 5 million, a little, I think 0.5 too expensive, and people would rather just go for Burgon.
The midfield picks are interesting. I'm wondering whether to double up in that attack because I think Lukaku is sort of almost becomes a no-brainer pick at that price. But KDB at 9.5 versus Trossard, what are you guys' thoughts there?
It depends on what you're using that 1.5 million for, because Trossard isn't a bad option. We've known to him to be a genuine goal scorer as well. But with KDB, you getting goal assist potential as well as man of the match potential. And he looks sharp. I saw him in the friendly also. He looks pretty good at the moment. So does Trossard. Faiz actually assisted one of the goals for, I think, I don't know if it was for Lukaku or it was for another striker. And he's got ball recovery potential as well. So wanted to add that. And Lukaku, just in terms of, people like me who are looking to be crazy and swerve him if at all, his numbers are insane. He was a top scorer in qualifying. He scored 14 goals in 8 games. He scored in every game bar one. So like he's consistent and reliable as they come. Why don't I have him? And he's had 83 goals in 114 games for the national team. So he's an absolute beast for the Belgian team. He's a focal point of that attack. Everything goes through him and him only.
I mean, my thoughts off on Trossard versus De Bruyne. As soon as
Let me hit refresh and see.
Yep. Yeah, I think we're back now. I can see us on the.
Yeah, we're back. We're back.
So we were talking about De Bruyne versus Trossard. So immediately when Ronaldo scored his second goal, basically my first instinct was downgrade Kane to Ronaldo, upgrade Trossard to De Bruyne. I mean, there's a little bit of a gap, but I think there is upside. I mean, there is upside to going Trossard.
The man of the match potential thing is big for KDB. I'd completely forgotten about that again. Because I guess unless Lukaku scores a brace or does something crazy, it's going to be De Bruyne man of the match pretty much every game because he does so much stuff.
Yeah. So ideally you go to De Bruyne, but 1.5 million in this game is a lot, especially starting price, right? There's no gems that we know of, or we've already maximized the squad. So 1.5 needs to come out, and you're sacrificing something. So you need to compare De Bruyne plus somebody and Trossard plus somebody.
But Trossard is more of a goal scorer, I'll tell you that also, because they sort of tend to play in a direct sort of counter-attacking sort of way, Belgian, right? So Trossard is at the end of things as well. Doku is also actually very, very involved. It's just that unfortunately he's a striker.
How much goal threat does De Bruyne have in this setup? Is he sort of playing off the striker or is he playing like a deeper role?
Number 10 off the striker. Like he's fairly attacking.
It's very difficult to say because De Bruyne played, I think, 2 of their qualifying games. In fact, in qualifying, I think Ed made this point in his podcast. Not a single goal was assist De Bruyne, goal Lukaku. We haven't seen it. So we don't know how, I mean, obviously having De Bruyne will be a good thing, but we don't know how that chemistry will work. But look, De Bruyne good player, Lukaku good player, so it should work.
I mean, I saw Lukaku. He was looking for a run behind the opposition defense at every move. And De Bruyne is literally the best guy to make that happen. So I won't be surprised to see a few of those.
Yeah.
Like, we don't need to see it for it to actually happen, because I think we've seen enough of both the players.
I'd agree with
Right.
that.
Coming to you guys, now that we've had this conversation, if you had to swerve Lukaku or Mbappe, you'd still swerve Lukaku? Like,
Yes.
who do you prefer as a guy?
I just
For
think
1 week on my chips.
For 1 week, it's a bit different, right? Because again, the lineup for the matchup is against Austria. It's a bit more tight. I still think I'd go Mbappe. But that's my
Yes.
Chelsea bias. I'm not a big Lukaku fan, obviously.
I mean,
Same.
we are aligned there. We have
We
both
are
been
aligned
going by
there.
Lukaku.
Like, there is a definitely United bias coming in there. I didn't like him as a player, so like I was like, I'm okay. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to play this game for fun. So I'm like, you know what, screw Lukaku. He might be a beast, but screw him. But it gives me nightmares every day.
Look, let's go back to first principle. Which team would you be surprised if they drew 1-1? I don't think it would be very surprising if France drew, even though Austria is
Yeah.
the more difficult opponent. So very difficult to drop Mbappe, man.
All right, cool. And I'll live with it, man. I mean, what is there to lose? Yeah. Jo hoga dekha jayega. What will be, will be. And I might still have the Lukaku by the time the deadline approaches. You never know. There's going to be a lot of tinkering tonight.
9 million is just a crazy. I mean,
9
Saka
million
is
is
8.5.
underpriced. He's definitely
Yeah,
underpriced.
he's
Saka is
underpriced.
8.5,
He's under.
right? It's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
he's definitely underpriced. So I'm doing it to fund Jude. Like, the whole idea behind it's Memphis plus Jude versus Lukaku and a cheaper midfielder. Like, that's the thing where I think Memphis is a good enough player. He's a talisman in that slightly weaker Dutch attack compared to the Belgian attack. And I just got a feeling about Jude, man. I feel like these players that have got it tend to emerge in clutch tournaments, and Serbia's a rubbish defense. That's
Yeah,
the
fair
premise
enough.
of this. That's it.
Jude is a very good pick. I mean, if there's a dark horse pick for player of the tournament, you won't be surprised if it's Jude, right? I mean, that's just the way he's grown this year in the last 12 months.
I think he'll be odds on top 5, top 6 contenders for player of the tournament. Like, I think that's also man of the match thinking coming into why I want to go for Jude. And not many people are going to, like, the casuals have gone there. He's 47% owned. But I
Have
don't
they?
think not many
Okay.
of the engaged players are going to go for Jude. And what I've seen is that if Southgate is committing to Trent playing next to Rice, that should mean that Jude is playing further up the field. And in the last 4 games, he played as a 10 further up the field as well. So
But he'll play that regardless, whether that's Water
Yeah.
and Menu, whether that's Gallagher. Jude is 10.
Exactly. Cool. Anything to say about Slovakia, guys?
Nope. Lot of noise about Hanko. So he's taking a lot of shots. I think it was 2.7 shots for his club. Now he's playing left back, 2 goals, 3 assists, but again 4.5. Probably better options.
Yeah, man. He's had 5 goals in the Eredivisie despite missing 10 big chances. He's that attacking. Like, his numbers are really good, and he had 2 goals and 3 assists in qualifying also. So if there is actually after this week, you can think about Hanko in any of the 2 games if he impresses. Just one to keep in mind for the future rounds, because he's just 4.5 million.
Move on to Ukraine.
Let's move on to Ukraine.
They're an interesting team because again they have good match day 1 and 2. So for that plus strategy, and I just got Sudakov in today. He's been quite interesting.
Did
I
you
love
see?
that- yeah, the
Did you
reply.
see?
There has to be a
That's
premium for players that reply to FPL tweets or fantasy related tweets, and he did. So that was really cool.
Yeah. For those that don't know what happened, FPL Marcin said that Sudakov got a goal and 2 assists in the friendly. Let him cook. And Sudakov replied to him with the meme Ronaldo handshaking gif, which was quite cool, you know. And I think that's just given him plus 20 points to everybody in the FPL community online, because you love that kind of thing. And you know that this player is sort of thinking about stuff like this as well. There was a player who was like this, I think 2 or 3 years ago, who used to reply and indulge and engage the FPL community as well. Pretty much all the time. I forget. This is not the first time something like this is happening, and he tended to perform in FPL as well. So yeah, that's something to know. But Ukraine, man, the thing about Ukraine that stood out to me is that a lot of their players are Premier League and La Liga quality players. So their front 4 is Sudakov, who plays for Shakhtar Donetsk, and he's like the creative hub of that team. They've got Mudryk, who's playing on the left, who's a lot more direct and a lot more important for the national team than he is for Chelsea. They've got, I forget his name, Sindikov or something like that, who plays on the right wing, who's also very good. And then they've got Dobvik. The thing with Dobvik is he was the top scorer in the La Liga. But there are doubts over whether he's going to start or the other guy is going to start. Let me just quickly open the Ukraine page so I can get these.
The Yaremchuk guy. I think
Yaremchuk
he's
guy,
gonna
yeah.
start. He's gonna start.
Yeah,
Dubvyk is gonna
because he
start.
started the last friendly as well. And there's Sigankov. Sigankov is the guy I was talking about. So all four of them are really good. Sudakov is 6.5 million, tends to be playing as the 10. He's involved. He's got good goal and assist threat as well. So, people want to punt. Ukraine are a good up and coming team, in my opinion, and known quantities. So I wouldn't mind going there. I like them as like a little dark horse in this group.
Yeah, and Lunin, obviously the Real Madrid dude. He didn't play all the friendlies, but then they had already said they will play one keeper for each of the friendlies. But Lunin is gonna start, so I think he's gonna be a popular pick.
Again, I've got him in because he's good for 2 match days, right? Again, if you go with Verbruggen, the next one is a little bit more difficult.
Correct.
Yeah. And also, like, when it comes to like keepers, right? You don't mind one of these sort of middling keepers in tough games because then you get the chance to spike like a 8-9 pointer, if at all.
Yeah, man
Like
of
with
the
the
match
super
maybe even.
premiums, you're sitting on 6 points. And then you're not going to twist that if you hit that 6 points. So, no,
Correct.
especially if these sort of middling team keepers come early, they come earlier than your known quantity keeper. Like Pras is going for Costa, right? So if your punt keeper goes early and hits an 8-9 pointer, you might even say, screw Costa. I'll let him sit
In fact,
on my
that's what
bench.
people need to sort of think about. That play your punty keeper earlier. In fact, for most picks, like your punts should be earlier. Because what happens is, let's say you have a 4.0 keeper or a 4.5 keeper later, and your premium keeper scores 4 points, right? So a couple of saves. I would even doubt twisting him at 4, right? I would just leave it, man, because the other guy could concede 4 goals. So
Exactly.
have it the other way around.
Yeah, have your known quantities later. That's about it. Yeah, man, if we get information that Dobvik starts, that would be really good. I saw him. He's a big lad. 24 goals in the La Liga. It's no mean
But
feat
only
being
2 goals in
top
qualifying.
scorer. Yeah. But he's got the chances. I like, when you watch certain players, like some of the Ukraine highlights, he's got it. He's a good player. But yeah, I think Yaremchuk, like Pras mentioned, starts. Sudakov is a good punts off. I like him.
Move on to Romania.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to mention is that their defensive numbers stood out to me. They're known for their organization and their defense. And that was something that, made me, I'm deciding between Soboslai and Sudakov. And the perception of the Romanian defense sort of made me think twice about going for the Ukrainian attack.
Okay, the main thing about Romania now, I think, is the goalkeeper, Moldovan. I think he's only 4.1, like we're expecting to start, 4.0 guy.
Correct.
I mean, there is some threat from another keeper. What is it, Nita or something?
No, but Moldovan looks likely to start.
He looks likely. He's in my team because he's probably one of the only 4.0 keepers. Or you have the Czech keeper, who we'll talk about, could also start, but Czech plays last. So it doesn't work where you have your 4.0 keeper playing in the final match day.
Yeah, but with Romania, also the best fixture is in match day 3, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you just throw him in, man. I mean, if he scores 1 point, you twist to a keeper that plays later. That would be the thinking anyway.
Yeah. Just have some notes on Romania. They actually went through their group leading by 5 points. They were unbeaten. They were really impressive defensively. Dragusin, the Spurs defender, is a centre back for the Romanian team. They conceded just 5 goals in 10 games and kept 6 clean sheets. So some really good defensive numbers for Romania. So if you want to punt on a 4 million keeper, Moldovan actually seems like a good bet. The standout pick, actually, if somebody is in the market, if somebody is cutting corners, etc., there's a 5.5 million midfielder who's the captain, Stanku, who's like the playmaker in that team. He created 15 chances. He takes corners and free kicks as well. So if you're looking for a differential punt, Stanku at 5.5 million is a decent pick. Their striker is a 5 million Dennis Man, but you're not going to be in that market, and I wouldn't recommend going to be in that market. So that's about it on Romanian front.
I think that's for the group.
Cool. I think that sums up Group E.
Yeah.
Let's do.
I think predictions also for the group are quite similar. I think Belgium, Ukraine, we expect.
I'll go Belgium, Ukraine, Romania, Slovakia.
Yeah, I've got the same time.
Agreed. Agreed.
Right. Group D.
That said, a couple of people are telling us that we're underrating Romania quite a bit because their qualifying numbers were really good. So just something to watch for later.
I
think
have
they
a
topped their
Romanian player.
group. Pretty sure they topped their group. Who have you got, Pras?
Yeah,
Their
they
keeper,
topped the group.
Keeper, right?
Moldovan.
Yeah.
Move
So,
on to now Group
Zoff, these
F.
are the sort of games, where we get
Yeah.
to watch them in match day 1 and then punts emerge in match day 2 based on what you've seen in match day 1. Like these are the sort of teams that we don't really know much about that we get to see. Where the groups are open, where you have only one sort of marquee team in Group E and F.
Move on.
Yep.
Yeah, Group F.
The big one, Portugal.
Go on, Zoff. Why don't you talk us through Portugal?
I mean, it's have your United boys, Bruno at 9 million, 6 goals, 8 assists in qualifying. Ronaldo at 10 million with 10 goals, 1 assist. The dilemma I have right now is between Cancelo versus Mendes at 6 versus 5 and Costa versus Pickford at the same price. Where are you guys on that?
I mean, Cancelo Mendes, I think, is an easy choice. Mendes is not nailed. There's a good chance
so 1
Dalot
million
starts.
put you to save it and all that stuff.
Yeah, but Dalot could start and Cancelo could start. I don't think it's worth it. Then you go for another defender. Like I think Mendes versus Dalot has ruined sort of both of them.
I've got
Cancelo isn't
right now.
100% himself, by the way. You could easily play Dalot and Mendes, but it's very, very likely that Cancelo starts. So I personally started with Cancelo as my upside defender because of my chip strategy that I want Portugal for match day 1, match day 2. He is my guy. And I hope that he gets an attacking return. And by the way, defensively, their numbers are amazing. Like their qualifying group was very easy, but still, I think they kept a clean sheet in every single match except for one.
Yes, and they won 10 out of 10 games.
Yeah.
0.2 goals conceded per game.
Exactly.
That's mad.
Yeah. Also, he's really good with ball recoveries, and he had like 3 goals in 8 games in qualifying. In the recent friendly against Finland, he had 5 shots. He's that attacking. And I saw them play. They look mesmerizing. Like Portugal are probably, in my opinion, the most rounded team.
Do you guys rate Roberto Martinez as a manager? There are conflicting views from lots of people.
The only problem with Portugal is that manager. Like the team is so good and well-rounded throughout. They've got good squad options throughout the pitch. Like up front, outside of Bernardo, Bruno, Ronaldo, and Leo, who's going to start, they've got Felix, who's a great option. They've got Jota, who's a good option. They've got Neto. So even the people that might come into play are such game changers. In midfield, they've got Vitinha, Paulinho, Neves, who's an 18-year-old wonder kid who our club is behind at the moment, Pras, as well as Liverpool.
Bruno
defense
is on it.
Yeah, Ruben Dias is there, and they're going to play one of Ignacio, or there's moments of Pepe too, to partner him. They've got the wingbacks. They've got Costa. Such a great all-rounded squad. I think double Portugal is something you should think about, especially as just a great fallback to have on the final day if things don't work your way in terms of punts. Bruno's numbers, like Zoff mentioned, also really good. And it's difficult, man. Once you see Ronaldo hit a brace in a friendly in 45 minutes, and I saw the highlights of that game. Like Zoff, I guarantee you, if you watch the highlights of that game, you'll immediately put Ronaldo back into your team. Like Bruno's looking for Ronaldo at every instance, and Ronaldo, the moment he gets the ball, is just shooting. And there are so many, and there's so many good creative players around Ronaldo. I wouldn't be surprised to see a first matchday brace hat trick early on.
Him versus Kane. Wondering whether to go without Kane. That's a dilemma also as well.
So yeah, man, just a really good team. Double, triple up.
What are your thoughts on England and all that stuff? Like a lot of people think they're obviously a bit spooked by the friendly against Iceland. Plus, what do you think? Is England attacker still essential, or is it one in your team?
Yeah, I can't go without Kane. I can't, I will be supporting them. Like there's certain people who say I love England and I'll support them and I'll enjoy it anyway, even if Kane does well. I'm the opposite. If there's a popular player from a team that I'm supporting, I don't even want a 1% joy to be taken away because Kane scored. I want to enjoy that. So if I could, I would have gone for a second England attacker as well. But at the moment, I'm trying to be balanced. So I only have 2 England, just Gahey and Kane. But it's very tempting. But I think I'll still have Kane. But I can understand the million saving from Kane to Ronaldo makes sense.
Where are you on that, LR?
Backing the Serbian defense. Like I've spoken to a couple of Serbian players. I read that scout article, and the fan only spoke about how shit their defense is. So like none of their defenders play in the top 5 leagues. So that's the thing where I probably rate the Portugal attack more, but I think the Serbian defense is worse. And I spoke to Prophet, a friend of ours who we known for a while, a Serbian player. He's like,
He's actually an ex-footballer. We
uh,
should mention that.
yeah. However poor Southgate might be, or a perception of him might be, he says their manager is shit. He says their defense is shit. Like he won't be surprised. He says like the floor for England is 2 goals in the first game. And one thing he said is that the right wing back and the right centre back are terrible. So despite Foden not really doing well for England generally, he expects him to run that right back ragged. So just wanted to give that piece of information as well from Prof. So that's my thinking. Like I think Ronaldo might be the more clutch player, but like he said, he won't be surprised to see a 4 final hammering from England because of how terrible the Serbian defense is. That's why the Bellingham punt.
Makes sense. Is Bruno a no-brainer given the other midfield options?
Not a no-brainer, but one of the best picks out there.
I would say no-brainer. I would say he
I'm
plays
in close
last.
to no-brainer territory as well.
He plays
Yeah.
last. So especially if you don't have Ronaldo, you want a safe captain in the end, right? I mean, let's say you've got 2 blanks or one guy just gets 1 return. Sometimes, by the way, people underestimate. They think, oh, I don't need a 4th-day captain or a 5th-day captain because somebody will do well. You could have a scenario in which, let's say, in match day 3, you had Mbappe, he scored 1 goal, and you decided to twist. And then you got a blank in match day 4. Now you have to rely on match day 5 captain. You want a safe captain.
So on day 4 of match day 1. Like I
correct. Sorry. Day 4 of match day 1. So basically, you still want good captains throughout, even though because you don't know, you might twist and you might lose the returns. You might be sitting naked, like in day 4 of match day 1. So you need a Bruno.
I argue that Cancelo is a good captaincy option.
Fair, but it gets into punty, like you're in day 5.
Yeah. I agree. In general, also, you want to take these aggressive win-back punts as captaincy options. Day 1, 2 are good days to do that.
Earlier,
just to keep it, man. Cool. So Portugal, man, I think having at least a double up is well versed for the team, no matter what your chip strategy. So yeah. Let's talk about their opponents.
Is also another close one. I think both are good picks. Currently got Pickford in, but I'm swaying towards Costa as well. Where are you guys on that?
Prefer Costa.
I think plus you've got
Maguire and Shaw not playing in that England defense.
I think has some illness, right? He's been isolated.
Exactly. He should be okay though, but yeah, he missed training.
Like that back 5 is not sort of settled at the moment, which is why like even Trippier is playing on the left, which is not his best position. There's a lot of chopping and changing. I don't like the balance in that English defense, which is why I think Portugal's better.
The chat is saying another player you mentioned who tweeted about the goals and assists was Saint Maximin.
Yes, there was.
Oh, really? How did I miss this?
Yeah, this happened back in the day where he kept talking about it, etc. as well. Yeah.
Sorry, Press, you were saying something?
So what I was saying between Pickford and Costa, I think, the defensive issues, but I think Costa playing last made it for me because I was then thinking 4.0 keeper, who's the keeper? It was Moldovan. And so Pickford plays before Moldovan. So then I was like, just get Costa who plays after Moldovan. That's the only logic to it, not any footballing logic to going Costa over Pickford.
Footballing logic, Serbia's got Mitrovic, Vlahovic, Tadic, and Milinkovic-Savic. Like I just think they're really good players who are capable of scoring.
Well done on that.
Again,
that's a real tongue twister. Well done. I'm impressed.
You've been using that UEFA website. That these guys shared on Discord.
I haven't been using. I've just been reading and watching, man. That's about it. So like, I think that Serbian attack, is generally good. So like, I won't be surprised to see sort of like a high scoring game. So I don't expect England to keep a clean sheet because I think these are good players. These are good Premier League quality players, So that's why I say Portugal.
I'd agree now. You've convinced me.
Yeah.
Move on to Turkey.
No, let's do Czech, right? So that's their opponents in match day 1. I mean, you're not going to go pick a player from Czechia, who are what we call them now. They've changed from Czech Republic. Souček was a pick there. He's 6 million, but he's playing sort of DM now. But I think it was Dan from the UEFA Fantasy Pod who made a good point about having these high ball recovery options as good cheap options on day 4 and day 5. Because let's say you had a blanker, then having somebody who's going to have a floor of 2 extra ball recovery points is just something that works. When you say, like, okay, I'm going to replace you, you're going to get me 4 or 5 ball recovery, 2+2 ball recovery points, stick in there. So just wanted to add that. And they generally have Schick, who does well for them in these sort of tournaments. He was really good in the last Euros, is what I read. But at the moment, we're going to pick them because their match day 1 is against Portugal.
So one point chat is making, which I had not even realized, is if you pick Moldova and Costa, they play on the same day in match day 2. So you can actually only play one of them, which you'll play Costa. I'll have to rethink my 4.0 keeper. But anyway.
Yeah. Baker's in the chat. Yeah, Baker, join us and make a match day 1 team, copy Zov's team, and then you can wildcard match day 2 and match day 3 and pick your players based on who you like. So yeah, get in there, Baker. Cool. Let's talk about Turkey.
Turkey, I think there's more to talk about, obviously. Çalhanoğlu, however you say it, 6.5 million was in my team. But I think the guy mentioned that he plays a bit last. And again, there's a bit of limited open play threat. It's a fixture, right? Against Georgia, we're looking to target. And he is on the set pieces, corners, penalties, and stuff like that.
And man of the match potential.
And man of the match potential. I think he's possibly the most attractive pick of this lot.
No, man. They've got Güler, who's very, very attractive. I saw the highlights again. He's a Real Madrid guy, 1 decade in Turkish football. He's done well for Madrid. He scored 6 goals in 10 matches for Madrid as well. And he had a 45-minute cameo in the last friendly. And he had 4 shots and 4 chances created, playing just behind the striker in Turkey as well. So, interesting pick. Çalhanoğlu is somebody who can rely on for ball recoveries, penalties, set pieces, and man of the match potential. So he's like a Zoff pick. Mini Rodri sort of kind of guy. Exactly. Well put, Pras. So that's the thing with Turkey.
Artikoglu has also been getting some interest in our WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
7 million, man.
7 million.
I just don't get it.
Yeah, the thing is that the punt, the thing is you have to go for it in match day 1 because Georgia are one of the weakest teams in this entire tournament. So, if you want to punt on a Turkish player, it's not a bad option. And Artikoglu has been really key under the new coach. The Turkish fans like the new coach, Montella. And in the final 3 games in qualifying, he racked up 13 shots and 9 of them were from inside the box in the final 3 games. So 3 shots inside the box in the final 3 games per game is pretty good for somebody like that. I was actually looking at Yilmaz as a striker also, but there seems to be we don't know who the nail striker is going to be for Turkey. There might be some rotation, so we can't go there. So I think the punt to go for is Artikoglu or Çalhanoğlu or Arda Güler, who I'm considering to be a part of my team at the moment.
Beautiful pronunciations. I mean, I have tears in my eyes. I mean, I don't know what to say. I have nothing to add.
Nothing to add. Talk about Georgia a little bit. Plus, you want to try the name of the 4.5 mid guy?
No chance. I'm not falling for that. On Georgia, I would say, look, it's a decent team and you can go for some Turkey players to attack against them. There's no chance you're picking a Georgia player. There's 3 defenders from them that are 4.0. If you're so desperate, but when Mittelstadt and Fez are 4 million, then you don't need to do that.
I have a Georgia player in my team.
In your team?
Yeah, I have a Georgia player.
Go on then. Pronounce it.
Chakwitadze. He's the Watford player who's 4.5 million. He's a midfielder who plays in the front 3 in the right wing. It's pretty much template FPL 4.5 million midfielder thinking. But he's the best 4.5 midfielder out of the lot. I actually think he might be more useful than a 5 million Jorginho, where people are going to rely on penalties. So if people want to save 0.5 million, just have a bit of fun as a backup option. I don't plan to even bring him in if a player has 4 points. But if you're looking for a 4.5 million midfielder, I hear he's the best 4.5 midfielder in the game. Attacking, nailed on in the front 3.
Good point, actually.
I've had him in a lot of my drafts as well because I'm just hardwired to pick up 4.5, 4.0, 4.2, 3 outfielders.
Yeah. Exactly, man. Exactly. So yeah, man. That's us with the group previews. I think Turkey's a fixture to attack, but the thing is we don't know. So if you want to attack, talk to a few Turkish fans, see if you get an attacker out there because Georgia is a fixture to attack.
But see, even in this very good fixture, their clean sheet odds are what, 42%, which is still lower than like England. It's similar to Denmark. It's lower than Germany. So it's still you're backing an okay team against a weak team. So
Yeah.
manage expectations.
Right. Before you leave, Pras, I'll quickly just cover 3 points that I noticed in friendlies from Group A, B,
Yeah,
and
let's do
C.
that. Let's do that.
I'll just like move past them. Germany, not much has changed. In fact, their first 11 has pretty much been confirmed, and it's the expected lineup. I do want to mention Ta has a habit, 4.5 million defender, of getting at the end of set pieces. I've seen him have 1 or 2 chances of every corner. I mentioned in the previous pod as well. Salah really stood out to me in the highlights that I saw for Hungary, where he tends to be involved in every attack pretty much. So he's one of the 2 10s that plays behind Varga, who scored a brace in the last game. But the thing is, he's like a cheap forward, and the forward market is very crowded. But if somebody was looking for an even cheaper forward than Memphis, Salah is 6 million. Nothing else to mention there. One thing I noticed is that the odds have Switzerland better than Hungary, but almost everybody thinks that Hungary is the better team than Switzerland, and the Swiss defense is a little bit overrated.
Hungary's on the up.
Uh,
Like if you look at rankings and everything, I don't think maybe the odds haven't caught up or something. But yeah, I also agree with you.
Group B, Italy. Anything to add there, Pras? I think there were a few defenders that came into the picture that were sort of nailed on.
Cambiaso is one, 4.0, who played right wing back, who could, we talked about him in the last one where Di Lorenzo could play in center as center back, but Di Lorenzo didn't play that friendly, so we don't know. We don't have any information, and I think it's highly punty to go for Cambiaso as your third 4.0 defender, or even above a face or a Mittelstadt.
Yeah. I know Gianni is going for triple Italy defense in his matchday 1 team. So if you want to know which defenders are nailed, check his Twitter team. He's posted it on Twitter as well as his YouTube channel, so you can check that out. Spain, Grimaldo, there's a little bit of doubt over how nailed he is for matchday 1.
Yeah.
So take that with a pinch of salt. I wanted to shout out our good friend Jazzy, who's actually a Spain fan. He's like, people are sleeping on Pedri. Pedri is likely to play behind the striker in that Spanish setup, and he says Spain are going to be so good, people don't know what they're in for. So just wanted to shout out Pedri as a 7 million midfield pick if somebody wanted some Spanish coverage. And then Group C, there is doubt over the wing backs in Denmark, but it looks likely that we shout out Christensen last time. It's not nailed on. There is some doubt. Ba might be a picture there. Mele is also not 100% nailed. He's almost like 80% nailed. So something that I wanted to add. And
England, people have decided that they are not winning the Euros because they lost to Iceland. But look, there are certain issues. But in that game, look, Bellingham didn't play, Saka didn't play, so I have no issues with England. There are defensive worries which we talked about in the pod, but nothing else in terms of friendlies. Friendlies are about people avoiding injury, man. We can't. It's like preseason. You have to ignore
I was sort of going to say that how much do you even read to the friendlies, because there are teams who are experimenting with different things, right? I don't think much.
Exactly.
And also one thing, there is widely leaked or expected news that Trent is going to play in midfield. So people who did want to take a punt in this game for Trent as their midfield pick, they could. I would just warn that Southgate is doing something that is against what he is. Maybe he knows it's his last tournament, so he's more doing what people want. Because I expected Gallagher to play for sure. So any signs that it's not working and Gallagher comes in for Trent on the 50th minute, 55th minute, second game is certainly a risk. So people who are looking for a longer term strategy, Trent becomes very risky. For a 1-game strategy, you could have
very
huge
good
upside.
Pick.
Yeah.
Very good pick in a 1-game strategy because he's man of the match potential and could be on set pieces as well.
Yeah. Although England are good with set pieces, to be honest. Like think about Rice taking Arsenal boys, right? Trippier, you have Rice as backup, and on this side you have Saka, who takes very good corners. So yeah, free kicks you could have Trent taking some, but then Foden is good as well. There's a few. England is very good, as we know.
Yeah, cool, man. Would you go Trent as a 5.5 midfield in a 1-day punt?
If I was on, let's say, limitless, right, when money isn't an object, I would definitely pick Trent this week.
Thinking about it because it's the Serbian attack. Like the clean sheet odds aren't as. I'm not nailed on perceiving them to have a clean sheet.
Yep.
That's my thinking. That's all. Cool. I think we finished in time.
Let's just discuss quickly our Twitter template team. I think we have one from FPL Sweep.
I'm gonna drop, guys. Good
All right.
good chatting. Yeah, and apologies for dropping a little early, but you guys will talk about the Twitter team.
Yeah.
So see you later.
How long before things come off, Pras?
It's
He left.
tomorrow. It's tomorrow. It's tomorrow.
The Lasix tomorrow?
Exactly.
Lovely. We're going to see Pras without his specs next time we see him.
Fantastic.
All right, Zoff, come on. Let's talk about this.
Where are you on this? Because I think the front three is pretty much template. That's what I've got as well. I've got Wirtz, Soboslai, Mittelstar, DiMarco, Lunin, Faze, Fernandez. So I've got basically 10 of these players, I would think. How close are you to this?
Lukaku, the striker decision, man. That's the thing. But I like having Memphis as a differential. And you know what? Like, we've got nothing to lose, right? Like, the rank isn't going to be plated on our graveyard, like
Yeah.
gravestone, like you mentioned, right? So I might just take it without him. That said, Lukaku's a really good pick. It's just, I want Jude. Then if I would you sacrifice Bruno or would you sacrifice Lukaku?
I'd sacrifice
Probably Bruno, right?
Sacrifice
Yeah,
Bruno,
that's the thing. And maybe I think the thing is the replacement option for Bruno isn't as good as Deepa is for Lukaku. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a pick I'm fairly convinced about. That's the thinking at the moment that I'll be debate. I'll be watching a few highlights tonight and let's see. Feel far from settled from my team. But I wanted to mention that this De Cooper guy is a really good option from Belgium. If you don't have him also and if you're not
How
using a
much-
chip
how
in
much
match
is
day
he?
to 4.5 million. He's a player that has just emerged in the game because Muina got injured and he's going to be playing as a left back in the Belgian team.
Got it. Saka is an interesting one. Again, with the Cole Palmer playing so well, I'm not confident about his minutes.
Yeah, so that's the one of the things where I'm not as confident about Foden's minutes as well as Saka's minutes. Whereas I think Jude is much more nailed on for a 90-minute game. So that's another thing.
That's the other one. I think Rodri I don't like as a 6.5 guy. I think they're more attacking, picks it off more threat. But apart from that, there's not much else I can really follow.
Want to mention that both Wirtz and Musiala, like Sane did really well in his cameo in the last friendly. So they're sort of, you wouldn't be surprised to see a 60th, 65th minute sub for Wirtz, Musiala, or even Gundogan. I just wanted to add that their expected minutes are slightly dicey. Hashtag one.
Yep. So this draft is from FPL_Sui on Twitter. He's done some great threads. If you guys want to check it out. But yeah, let's wrap up. We have a short shelf life for this pod. So the game's kicking off tomorrow.
Right, man. Good luck. And look forward to chatting you match day 2.
Before signing off.
Yeah, guys. We'll be here for you before match day 2 as well. We don't know when yet, but probably a day before match day 2, I reckon's off.
At least a day, maybe 2, we'll see. But the thing is, you need the results just before, right? You can't really go without all the results. That's the thing.
Yeah, so we will play this go, but you'll definitely hear from us before match day 2. And like and subscribe if you've enjoyed our work. And if you're not convinced about playing, play, because you can just copy one of the template teams right now and then pick a match day 2.
Exactly.
Have fun with it, man. Yep. Have fun with it.
Cheers.
All right, good luck, Zoff, and I'll see you.
Cheers. Sorry about my bad lighting, guys. I'll get it resolved. We just only settled in today. So you'll see more of me next week. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.